Happy Saturday, everybody. This is Curtis, and welcome to Nintendo Weekend Report live from Smash Fest. Come on, come.
Hey, is this being streamed?
No, it's not being streamed.
The brothers.
Yeah, a lot of stuff happened this week. E3 happened this week, of course. I was going to do something during the event, but I figured, you know what? YouTube's probably being flooded with a bunch of different videos, and this is probably going to get buried with the rest of them. So you know what? Might as well kill two birds with one stone and go ahead to go to Smash Fest over at Best Buy here in Citrus Heights. First up, Nintendo did their digital event and their live Treehouse stream, which was first for them. Not the first time they've done a live stream themselves, but the first time they've actually just did a continuous live stream of all their different just games and announcements and things like that, and it's been a lot of fun. Like whenever I was home, I was just glued to that Treehouse stream. So good job, Nintendo. But I know you guys have probably watched that, so let's just get on to the games they announced. All right, now first up, stupid car. Now, first up, they introduced Smash Brothers with an awesome opening movie with Iwata and Reggie Fils-Aimé. They did an awesome choreographed fight, which I'm dying to see the behind the scenes of. But yeah, they announced the Mii fighter being playable as a playable character. You could customize them with swords and beams and all kinds of different styles. And they also announced the introduction of Amiibo, which is their kind of take on Skylanders and Disney Infinity figurines. Now, how they're used are going to be on a game-to-game basis. They're not going to be like specific games tied to it, like Skylanders or Disney Infinity, like I said. In case of Smash Brothers, they're going to be kind of AI opponents, so you can battle against other people that also have the different Amiibos, and it's looking pretty interesting. Like, I haven't really been all that interested in stuff like Skylanders because the designs of the monsters just aren't really, my thing. But you know what? These figures look awesome, and they're characters that I actually would want to buy. So hopefully they don't gouge us too much on the prices. Let's see, what's the second thing? Okay. So yeah, during the digital event, they also finally revealed. No, they didn't reveal it. Okay, next up, they actually finally gave us some more information about the upcoming Yoshi Yarn game, which is now called Yoshi's Woolly World. And they went in depth about how they created the game and just how they, wanted the game to look and feel, and it's looking very, very adorable. I was a big fan of Kirby's Epic Yarn. I know it was really easy, but you know what? Sometimes you just gotta have a chill game. It looked absolutely cute and just fun, and I just wanted to get my hands on that squishy, just comfortable yarn. The game just feels so comfy. I think that's the most I could really try and explain this. Just looking like a comfy game. All right, so next up they revealed Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. Now, Captain Toad was a kind of a sub-game within Super Mario 3D World, which we were kind of placed in this isometric kind of landscape where you control Toad. Now, Toad can't jump, but he still kind of uses his abilities to kind of get around and walk around, and this game seems to expand on that concept. Now, this is actually a retail game and actually has a box art and everything, which I think is really cool. Like, I assumed that this was going to be an eShop game, but they seem confident enough that this is going to do really well at retail, and I'm happy to see that something starring Toad is going to be starring in a game. And, the Captain Toad segments in Super Mario 3D World were some of my absolute favorite parts of that game, and I'm glad to see that there's something, being expanded upon from something just so small, and it just makes me really happy to see something like that be released. They also revealed kind of a teaser trailer for the new Legend of Zelda for Wii U. Now, we didn't really see much of it in terms of gameplay, but they claimed that everything that we saw in that little teaser was running on Wii U hardware, and I gotta say, it looks absolutely gorgeous. And it's really reassuring to hear that they're kind of challenging the traditional conventions of a Zelda game, like what makes a Zelda game, and it's starting to sound a little more like Skyrim, which I'm all behind, because I never really got into Skyrim that much, but you know what? I love the idea of it, and I loved the fact that I could play a Zelda game that expansive and that kind of free roaming and things like that. So, yeah, new Zelda. I'm hyped for it. That's coming out in 2015. All right, next up, they reviewed Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. Now, if you're a fan of DS kind of launch games, you're in for a real treat here. Now, Kirby and the Rainbow Curse is a sequel to Kirby Canvas Curse, which was kind of a weird Kirby game where you didn't really control them directly, but you made these little paths of like rainbow that you kind of glided along, and you defeated enemies that way by circling them or tapping them or just, crossing them out or whatever. And it's done in this beautifully crafted, just kind of old school charming claymation. Like, it's kind of crude. I don't know if you've ever seen the Penny shorts from Pee-wee's Playhouse back in the day, but it's kind of reminiscent of that. And yeah, it's just, this running theme about Nintendo this year seems to be just adorable and charming, and that's exactly what Kirby and the Rainbow Curse is all about. Now, the next game they showed off was a game called Splatoon. Now, this is a new IP. It's a team-based shooter, but it's not shooter in the traditional sense with, like, guns and leveling up and stuff like that. Well, actually, we don't even know if you can level up, but who knows at this point. But, yeah, you control these little human squid creatures called Inklings, and what you do is you cover the playing field with paint as you go along, and you try and cover more ground than the other team. Now, you could actually shoot the other team members with paint, and they, like, kind of dissolve, and they have to go back and whatever. But what the cool thing about this game is that you can actually turn into a squid and swim through the ink that you've covered, that your team has covered throughout the playing field, and you can kind of zip along to where your teammates need you most. Now, this is supposed to be coming out in 2015. They haven't said a set release date or how many game modes they're going to be, but this is looking to be a fresh take on the team-based shooter. And there's going to be multiple control options. Like, you can control it traditionally with like analog sticks, but if you're like me and you're a weirdo, I actually like the motion controls, and I find it easier to aim with stuff like that. So I'm hoping this is going to be a fresh take on shooters, because I don't know about you, I'm getting kind of bored of them, So who knows? So the other game we learned about is called Hyrule Warriors. Now, we learned about this game a few months back during a Nintendo Direct, but we learned a few more details about it. Not only will you be able to play as Link, but you'll also be able to play as Princess Zelda, Impa, and newly introduced Midna from Twilight Princess. Now, I honestly think this is kind of cool, because there's been a kind of a big thing during E3 about Ubisoft saying that it's too much work to program female playable characters, and someone like Tecmo Koei and Nintendo proving them wrong by making 3 playable female characters to 1 male playable character is just kind of interesting. So I'm glad to see more diversity in playable characters, especially of different genders. So hopefully this keeps up, and we'll be able to see more playable characters of different ethnicities and genders and just the whole spectrum. All right, so the last part of the Direct, but not the last thing we've heard during E3, was that Lady Palutena from Kid Icarus Uprising will be a fighter in the upcoming Smash Brothers for Wii U and 3DS. She is looking awesome, and it's really good to see more representation from something as small as Kid Icarus. So yeah, Palutena, check it. Okay, now this was kind of leaked earlier in the day, but Miyamoto revealed that he's working on 3 new projects for the Wii U. The first one is called Project Guard, which is kind of a robot security kind of tower defense game where you play someone who is controlling all these cameras placed at different parts in this maze, and you have to defend the base from robot invasions. Now, how you do this is that you, like I said, you control the camera with a Wii U gamepad, and you shoot down the robots that come through the entrance. But the thing is that you can't see what's coming on the Wii U gamepad when you're controlling it. You have to rely on what's on the TV. Like, on the TV, you have different positions of where you place the camera, and depending on where you place the camera, you'll be able to see where these robots are invading from. So you'll have to either multitask by using both the gamepad and the Wii U, or have a friend who can tell you, oh, go to camera 4, go to camera 3, and shoot that, blah, blah, blah. And it's looking really cool. So, yeah, who knows if that's going to be a full-fledged game, or maybe it's just going to be a part of a bigger game, or... Yeah, but it's looking pretty cool. All right, so the other IP that Miyamoto is working on is called Project Giant Robot. Now, this is kind of an interesting take on Rock'em Sock'em Robots kind of style game, where you control a robot with the Wii U gamepad as you punch and kick with kind of the shoulder buttons. And you have to control your balance by kind of moving your whole body and the Wii U gamepad as you're being punched by other robots. Now, the other robots will try and throw off your balance, and you have to kind of center your point of gravity by shifting the gamepad up in different ways and trying to punch them and get them to be knocked over as well. They didn't really show off too much of that either. It seems like more of a tech demo, which to kind of be part of a bigger game, which I think will probably happen with Project Guard as well. But yeah, it's interesting to say the least. Like I said, I don't know if that's going to be a full-fledged game, but we'll see. And the third game that Miyamoto announced was in development is a new Star Fox game that is coming to Wii U in 2015. Now, they didn't really show this off during the Treehouse stream or during the Nintendo Direct, aside from some blurry footage. But we do know that a Star Fox game is finally coming and is going to take full advantage of the Wii U gamepad, and as well as some co-op play where you'll be able to play as, a person in a cockpit and the Landmaster tank. And they didn't really talk about the game all that much, to be honest. They kind of touched on it, but we had to kind of like coax them kind of a little more info about it. But you can see all the information about the game up on our website at NintendoWorldReport.com. That digital event wasn't the only thing that Nintendo did during E3. They also had a Smash Brothers tournament and a Smash Brothers roundtable. Now, I don't know if you saw the tournament, but that was like super hype. It was really exciting at parts and kind of lame at parts. I wasn't really rooting for that Scarf guy, but you know what? He won. That's all that really matters, I guess. But it was still really fun to see people get so excited over the game, and glad to see that people actually do care about Nintendo, despite what certain sites and journalists and gamers might say. But yeah, during the roundtable, they announced another playable character, and that playable character is Pac-Man. That's right, Pac-Man is coming to Super Smash Bros., and he has this kind of classic design inspired kind of by the 80s arcade cabinets and stuff like Pac-Man World. It's not this weird mutant thing they're doing with the new cartoons, but he's using a lot of powers from a lot of old Namco games such as Galaga and Mappy. So yeah, it seems like there's a lot of love being put into this character and Namco's legacy back in the early arcade days. So I'm really happy to see not only Pac-Man, but Mega Man and Sonic and Mario in a game all together. If you went back in time and told my 5-year-old self that all these people would be playable in a fighting game, my mind would just explode. So just seeing a picture of all of them together just made me really happy. And the last big thing that came out of Nintendo's whole E3 presence was another new IP for the 3DS called Codename Steam. Now, this is a third-person / strategy game made by Intelligent Systems, the same people that made games like Fire Emblem and Advance Wars. So they know their stuff when they're making strategy games. And it looks to have a really cool kind of comic book steampunk style. You control an army made up by Abraham Lincoln, of all people, and it's set in old-time London, and it's just a lot of robots, a lot of steampunk imagery, and it's done in the style of kind of a comic booky, like if you ever played Elite Beat Agents on the original DS, it's kind of reminiscent of that. So it's cool to see something in that style, just kind of cartoony, and it just makes it look more lively and more interesting than something like Advance Wars Days of Ruin, which kind of bummed me out, to be honest. Like, I love playing Advance Wars games, but playing Days of Ruin, it was just like the whole story was just a big bummer. And it's just like made me feel sad. It's just like, I don't want to keep playing this. Everybody's so mad and miserable. But yeah, it's good to see something a bit more upbeat.
Hey everybody, I apologize. I did not get very good footage when I was at the Best Buy when I actually went inside. So there wasn't really anything else after I filmed that last part. Like I said, I apologize for not doing an special episode earlier in the week. But hopefully I'll make it up this week if there's, anything newsworthy following E3. But be sure to follow us on our website at NintendoWorldReport.com. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and subscribe to my other channel, Kurt Dog Gaming. Follow me on Twitter at Curtis Bonds. And if you like live streams, I'm doing a live stream every Friday night at 5:30 Pacific time called Backlog with Kurt Dog. That's going to be on our Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Nintendo World Report. So yeah, thanks everybody for watching, and I hope you guys had a good E3, because I know I did.